Welcome back to this live podcast recording at Sports Nation. I'm here with JD Barker, a thriller author. So thank you very much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So how are you finding the show so far?
It's fun. I've never been to this particular conference before. I haven't been to Vegas since 2001.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's my second time in Vegas. It's like a bit of a, I'm not sure if I love it that much, but it's good fun.
It grows on you, I think, after time.
Yeah.
Or you run away very quickly. It's usually one or the other.
So at the show, you're on lots of panels about thriller writing. So why don't you tell us a bit about your books first, and then tell us about the panels that you're going to be on.
Sure. So I'm a thriller author. I kind of bounce back and forth between thriller and horror. If you go to my Wikipedia page, it says I'm a suspense author with elements of, which is kind of a good way to keep your feet in multiple camps. New York Times bestseller. I think I've got about a dozen books out at this point. A bunch of TV shows and movies in the works. I co-author with James Patterson quite a bit. So I'm having a ball.
Yeah, nice. So what are the shows that you've got, the TV shows out?
Every book that I've written has been optioned with the exception of my very first one.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you say what they're working on at the moment, or is it still a secret?
You know, they get very angry at you when you talk about it, but like if your listeners were to Google me, you'll see the various things.
Right.
Some of them have been optioned over and over again. Like my 4MK series was originally optioned by CBS. They were going to do a feature film followed by a TV series to follow the next 2 or 3 books.
Yeah.
That never actually panned out. Then Lionsgate jumped on it as soon as the option became available. One of the things I've noticed is if you get something optioned, as soon as that option expires, the people in Hollywood kind of see it as a known commodity. You know, like somebody else wanted it, so we want it too, and they don't necessarily know why. But they scoop it up, and you can make a decent living just from those option checks. So I'm perfectly fine with like stuff not getting filmed.
Do you to get them optioned in the first place? Was there anything you did to make that happen, or is it just luck, or just the quality of your books?
No, I mean it's a little bit of everything. I mean, I write very cinema. You know, they have that kind of quality to them. But I've always had agents, you know, that go out there.
Yeah.
And we tend to, push the film and TV, very early on. I've had a couple books that I've sold before the publication rights have sold.
Yeah.
We sold for film and TV.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes I use the buzz from one to light the fire on the other, or vice versa.
For people who want to get their books options, do you have any advice for them? Is it just get an agent, do you think?
You really need an agent. I mean, it's changing a lot because my first few books were traditionally published and like they wouldn't look at indie stuff, in Hollywood at all. That has changed. I've got a number of my books are indie published in English, and they've still received options. A lot of them will actually go to things like NetGalley and just seek out material that way. What's doing well on NetGalley because it's a book that's going to come out. So they're looking for different sources. There's so many different outlets at this point for material.
Yeah.
They're trying to fill that void.
Yeah, cool. And on your panels, so what are you talking about on your panels? Have you got particular themes that you're going through, or is it just see what happens?
I'm all over the place. I talk about bouncing between genres because that's something the traditional publishing industry doesn't want you to do. Like they want you to basically write the same book but different every single time, so that they can put you in a box and label you and they know how to market you. I tend to, bounce all over the place. I wrote a prequel to Dracula, then I wrote a thriller, then I wrote another horror novel. Right now I'm rebooting the Flatliners franchise from the 90s. So I'm all over the place. And I've also, on the publishing side, I indie published the first novel. Then I went traditional for a couple books. Then I did a hybrid approach where I indie published in English and then sold foreign rights through the traditional publishers.
Right.
And now I've completely changed that again. I just signed a new deal with Simon Schuster. Where I've created my own imprint distributed by Simon & Schuster. So I can act as an indie author. I have full control over the books that are coming out, but with one of the top 5 as the backbone, which basically allows me to get them in places you can't get as an indie author.
Yeah.
The airport bookstores, grocery stores, that kind of thing.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you find you sell a lot of books in print as well as in ebook?
I do. I do a lot of television advertising. Working with James Patterson, he's taught me quite a bit on the marketing side. Yeah. And his very first book, actually didn't sell at all. Then he wrote Along Came a Spider, and that didn't sell at the beginning either. And then he spent $500 of his own money and created a TV ad for it. And that's what really lit it and got it going. So fast forward in today's world, I do a lot of Hulu ads. And what I like about Hulu is you film a television spot and you can target market. I can say that I want women watching Criminal Minds, and they can put my ad in front of that particular group.
Oh, right.
And I find that the television advertising tends to drive print sales. And online advertising, Facebook, Amazon, that kind of thing tends to drive audiobooks and ebooks.
Yeah.
So I do a mix of all of it.
Is it easy to get started with Hulu ads? I've not really heard anyone do that tactic before.
Yeah, I was part of a beta program, so I don't know if it's still in beta or if it's something anybody can just do at this point. But it works very much like Facebook ads. You create your spot, you upload the data, and then you bid on those ads running.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. I have to make a note of that one to research that a bit more. So coming to conferences like this, Do you come to a lot of these conferences?
I don't anymore. I used to do quite a few. I've got so many projects going now. It's kind of hard to step away from my desk.
Yeah.
But I like this particular one just because, like I was with ITW for years and they're fantastic, with debut authors. They're great at promoting the big names. But that 99% of people in between, there's not a whole lot there for them. And I feel like this particular conference actually does offer something for those people that are beyond a debut, that are trying to get to that bestseller, status.
Yeah.
And this conference seems to do that. So that's why I'm here.
What have you got most out of this conference so far?
A lot of new contacts, having not been here before, meeting a lot of new faces and a lot of new friends.
Yeah. Have you got any particular contacts you've been like, oh, he's a great person to meet, that was a great person to meet?
So far, everybody I've talked to be honest with you, they're all fantastic.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great. Good luck with your panel shows.
All right.
Looking forward to coming to Islington.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Publishing Performance podcast. I really hope you found today's episode inspiring. I love chatting to authors, writers, and people in the publishing world. Now, just before we wrap up, let me tell you about Publishing Performance, the #1 platform for authors who want to increase Amazon book sales, but are not really sure where to start. Now, this show is all about helping you to sell more books. And if you're looking to boost your publishing game and to maximize your book's potential on Amazon, then Publishing Performance is designed to help authors just like you to grow your readership and to reach a much wider audience. Now, I know that Amazon ads can be slightly complicated, which is why Publishing Performance is like having a personalized ad account manager to create your ad campaigns, to choose your best keywords, and to make adjustments in real time. Now, if you're investing in ads, you really want to make sure that your investment is being used effectively, and Publishing Performance does just that. It aims to make your budget go further, improve your organic rank, and target keywords more effectively. Just go to publishingperformance.com to get started with Amazon ads for just $1.